good to see you again. I'll just start with last night. I know we touched on it after the game, but it was a record-breaking victory for the football club. It continues a really good run that you're on. I imagine the mood in the camp is in a really strong place right now. They're
a good group around each other anyway. They enjoy each other's company and the staff as well. So, but yeah, there's a zip around the place. They've come in for the recovery. The other guys have trained. We're all in the canteen now. The usual sort of noise that's coming through. Music was blaring this morning, so it's a good environment, which it has been all season, to be fair, even in the difficult moments. When you're in a rich vein of form and the players are playing well and everyone is contributing, it's not half of the squad, it's everybody. I think it's to be expected, and it's good to see.
That collective spirit, that togetherness, it's been a consistent message that we've heard from yourself, from the players over the last few weeks, months, throughout this season. When you think back to previous successes that you've had as a manager, how does the spirit compare to what you've got right now? Is it linear to the success that you've had as a manager previously?
I think if you're part of a successful team, I think that breeds a good mood and a togetherness. But I think what's different here, and it's probably because how I've managed it over the last couple of months, as in rotating the team and changing winning teams, that hasn't been the case in the past. So I would have expected probably in previous times when they're having a successful team, there's been a few players on the outside of it, within themselves, and felt separated, maybe not through anything we've done, but obviously not being on the pitch. And I just think because of what we've had to do with the squad the last couple of months, I think it's give everyone value, it's give everyone the opportunity to contribute. So I believe there's more sort of on the boat, if you know what I mean, than probably before. But I was accepting of that because I wasn't a happy bunny if I wasn't playing as a player. So I just thought that's just par for the course. But I believe here, because of using so many players throughout this period, I think everyone's together, and everyone, I don't see any small groups talking to each other, and that's just through friendship, not in a negative way, but I see different people sitting with different people every day, and that's really good to see, and the staff are in there. It's just one big table in the canteen, so it's not a staff table and a players table. It's just everyone just sit next to each other, and I think it's been a small part, but an important part of what we do on the pitch.
As a manager, you're judged by your successes, I suspect, initially at the end of the season when you've done what you've set out to achieve. But is there a feeling of achievement as a manager when you've created an atmosphere like that within the training ground, when you look at the canteen and you see that collective nature and you go, we've got something here?
I think it's part of the process. Look, it's something that I think all managing coaches want to try and create, and sometimes sometimes you don't get the time to do that because it does take time and buy-in from everybody, players, staff, and the like. But so I'm not sure if achievement is the right thing. I think it's something that I feel is important for any success on the pitch. I think it's important to look forward to coming into work every day, and feeling you have value, feeling you have respect. I'm talking about every individual here, and the feeling that you can, achieve your ambitions as an individual with your team, and that's what we try to create. And it takes a lot of time, and you still have to manage it and ask yourself questions all the time, which we do as a staff. Is this the right thing to do? Are we sending the right message? All this lot. So it's not, it's not just a piece of paper you put down, everyone reads it, and then it cracks on. You constantly have to say manage it, but just be aware of it and get the players to create it as well, because it's their environment. So we put a lot of responsibility on the players to create whatever they want it to be. And I would guess if you sat down with any individual, they'd like it to be an enjoyment, a fun place, as in they can enjoy each other's company, but one where you can be successful. So they have a part to play in that. It's not just down to a manager or coaching staff. They have to mould it and create it and nourish it, I think, and that's what they're trying to do. So, and it is as a coach, when you see that sort of togetherness, you know, it does please you, you know, because it's not always the case in professional football.
George said to us last night he would happily graft another 2 months if it meant he could have another game like he'd had last night. Just the enjoyment of, in his own words, being out there with his mates, enjoying football. When you hear a quote like that from one of your players who has had to bide his time, wait for his opportunity, obviously stepped up with 2 goals last night, what do you feel as a manager when you hear that?
I feel we've got good people. That's I think we've got good people in the club that bring people into the circle. You know, if they show the right attitudes and the right character and personality, which I keep saying about, and George has done that, the other guys have done that. As soon as they come in the door and you get tested, and then sometimes players come straight into the team, it's easier to be a part of it. And sometimes, as in George's case, you're not thrust straight into it, and you have to be supportive of everyone else when you don't really particularly know those guys. I think that's what the players, I think the ones who've been playing and seen George come in, I think they've seen how selfless he's been, you know, without knowing him. And then we like that type of person being in our club and in our team, and we can go out there to battle with him. That's the thing, it's a trust. You know, if he's like that when he's not playing, what's he going to be like when he's in the team? He's just going to be even better. So I heard him say that, you know, just going out and playing football with your mates, because that's how I sort of saw my whole career. Yeah. You know, I never got tired of putting the boots on and going out and playing football with mates every day. It's what I dreamt of as a 6-year-old and 8-year-old. And if you can manage to do that as your job, then, you know, just remember that all the time, because sometimes you can take it for granted, sometimes you can take it, or you can get down about things, but ultimately you're living a brilliant dream of a career, and there's difficult moments come along, but just see the bigger picture that you're in a good place.
As we've said, it's a full squad effort at the moment, given some of the absentees that you have right now. Anthony Sarcevic's situation, have you had any clarity on what is in front of him?
He's got a hamstring strain, so he'll be out for a few weeks, unfortunately. So, I mean, we knew he had a strain of some sort, but he's going to be out for a little while, unfortunately. But he's in positive mood. He was around the boys last night before the game. He's still got a massive part to play for us this season, but it won't be on the pitch just yet. But hopefully we'll have him back at some point to contribute as much as he's done in previous.
And a similar question for Lewis Richards.
Lewis is the same really. Well, he's probably a little bit worse, so he's going to have an operation on his hamstring, which is a blow, and so we're looking at the potential of getting his shoulder done in the same period, because we knew that would get done either at some point this year. So we were planning on maybe getting to the summer and doing that, but because of this injury, we just feel for, and he feels for his own benefit in future, that it's important to get them done now.
So is that season done for Lewis?
Potentially, yeah. Well, it will be, if we're being realistic about that. So it's a blow for Lewis, it's a blow for us, because he's played a big part for us this season.
Alex Patterson?
Yeah, he's had his appendix out. Right. So that came out of nowhere. Left here on Friday feeling great, went to bed feeling great on Friday night, woke up during the night in pain, and he'd been in hospital over the weekend, and then he had his appendix out. So he's going to be out for a few weeks as well. So it's never rains when it pours, but but that's it. It's we knew of that yesterday. I didn't want to talk about it last night. I felt last night was important for everyone to focus on the performance of the team and the actual game. But we were aware of that yesterday, and I spoke to Pat on the phone. He's not been in yet because obviously he's not feeling great, obviously. I think he's in good shape generally. So hopefully that's not too long.
Forgive me for going through all the names.
That's fine.
Kieran Kelly, how close is he?
Kieran trained today with us, so that it's just to assess how he comes through today. So it was great to have him. He looks strong. He's a fit guy anyway. He looks after himself immaculately. So we're hoping him and Tyreek were both out on the grass today with us. So that's positive steps from both of those two guys.
Callum Johnson
was out on the grass as well today. So it's Kieran's missed a bit of a chunk. Tyreek less so, Callum less so. So their return to fitness shouldn't be too long. And the same as Kieran because of how well he looks after himself. So fingers crossed, those three guys will be back involved in the squad after this weekend with a good win behind us.
It's obviously a blow for Anthony, but as we've seen already this season, still has a part to play, even if he isn't available because of the experience that he has. And I know you've been big on the whole, understandably so, focusing on what's in front of you and not getting too caught up in the excitement that is clearly at play at the moment. How big a role does he still have to play this season? And I extend that question as well the way of Andy Cook, because we saw Andy again last night. He's in attendance for these home games as well, just keeping those big players involved, maybe not on the field but still within the group.
No, because we believe that it's not just on the pitch that you can help a winning sort of environment. It's off the pitch as important as what you actually do in the games. Cookie and Sars were together before the game around the boys. We have them in when we have Cookie obviously because he's been injured for a little while now, but when we have the forwards meeting we bring him in on that, so he has his opinion on little bits and pieces. Sars will be the same. He's been in anyway, but now he's injured, he'll still be in there, and I believe that's why we've been able to change the team up. Players have been able to come in because the way we want to play is for everybody. Yeah. So it's not just about the starting team and going over it. We have everyone who's plays in those positions and they see it. The players deliver back to us as a staff, about what they did well and what they could do better. So we all have an understanding of what they understand of our game, and the conversations they have, their knowledge of our game is really good to hear. And so we're not just just because they're not on the pitch doesn't mean they haven't got something to add, and they might add something that we're missing. As coaches right on top of it, the players that are in the game, they might see something a little bit different to us, and I think that's really valuable to have as a coach, that you have these opinions that you can see from a different perspective because they've been through a lot of games.
We've just spoken to Jack Shepherd prior to yourself, and he said, these next 11 games now, 11 cup finals for you. I mean, how do you approach these last 11 games? Do you have to just be as level as you can be, like you have been recently?
Yeah, I don't think they're cup finals. I think Jack's on there, to be honest. So I'll have a word with Jack. But no, not because I think cup finals are win or bust, aren't they? And that's not what these games are. So I think we have to just make sure we manage our dip for the line, if you want, so to speak. We're still a long way away from ending the season, so we have to stay strong, we have to stay upright, and we have to just keep looking one game at a time. And that's the thing. They're not cup finals. I don't want us to think like that. But I think that's when frustration might build in if we're not winning or something goes against us, or cup finals have a different feeling to them, and obviously, like I say, it's win or bust. That's not where we are, so we have to just make sure we do the exact same things, and it will change as we go through the games, but we have to remind ourselves, and I think we've been really good at that as a group, of doing the basics well, understanding our game, understanding what underpins everything we try to do, and just keep repeating it, and then see where you get to. If we look ahead at these games are any more important than anyone's we faced before, then I think we'll trip ourselves up.
Thank you, Graham.
Okay, mate.
You've got now, starting on Saturday with Gillingham, a run against teams who haven't had the best run of form, but this time of the season particularly, the lower teams quite often pull off victories. We saw last night teams at the bottom winning. So every game is now going to be as difficult as the previous game, isn't it?
I think examples are there every single week for us to take heed, to learn, to educate ourselves that there are no gimmies. Nothing's a foregone conclusion. We had to work exceptionally hard last night. It was a convincing win in the end, but we were creating chances, but we weren't getting breaking the deadlock up to the 30th minute. But we still kept going away, we still kept pressing, still kept trying to attack, we still kept the back door shut, so we weren't getting frustrated, getting desperate to get that first goal, and understanding, we didn't go into that game thinking anything overestimating or underestimating Cheltenham. We just went, this is our game, we have to go and produce it, and that's how we have to stick by. I think the league positions of teams are irrelevant to us. We have to plan for our best game, then take into consideration what the opposition will do, and that doesn't change for me. So I think last night was a good example outside of our fixture of what can happen at any time. Walsall were 12 points clear of everyone. Everyone thought it was a foregone conclusion. So it can happen to anybody, and we have to understand it can happen to us if we don't maintain our consistency, and our consistency is in our mindset. So I think the players are in a good place of understanding that, and I think they've showcased that already this season. So we just have to continue.
And after Saturday, obviously a long journey, but then it's Saturday for a while, which means you're going to get time on the training pitch with players. You mentioned last night Michael Mellon needs to get his fitness up.
Yeah.
That's going to be of a benefit to you, isn't it?
Yeah, we're thinking of organising a friendly next Tuesday just to throw another game in there, like for a laugh. But just keep, because look, we keep winning. We're winning, and we're going with it. But it's so we have sort of started thinking about what we're potentially going to do in the next few weeks until the next midweek game, because it has been quite a while. All we've done every day is recover and review one game and then prepare for the next one every single day. There's not been any let up in it. So from that perspective, it'll be interesting to see how we sort of adapt back to that. But we need to keep players. The players that have been here all season with us, we know where they are physically, because they've been with us since pre-season, worked exceptionally hard, they've played games. It's the ones that are coming in January where we're not probably fully aware of what they've done training-wise, what they were like in pre-season. We just take them as we see them over the last few weeks. So it's understandable that players are not at their optimum fitness levels, but this is why we put so much emphasis on how we train and how we look after ourselves, because you could go a little while without playing, but if you give them the opportunity, George last night, I think Brandon Keller, these are top pros that look after themselves, and you can see in their fitness levels when they come into games they're ready to play. So we'll have to make sure everyone is up to speed every Saturday, ready to do what they need to do.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and further on from that, Graham, you said about obviously playing as often as you do, and you were saying last night about the players are in the groove. I mean, is it a little bit of a double-edged sword coming out the fact that you haven't got those midweek games, because presumably you're getting wins, and the players just want to keep playing, and suddenly you've got time to sort of take stock and perhaps think about things a little bit before your next game,
Yeah, potentially that's the thing, if we think too much about it and look at the bigger picture and so what's right in front of us. So that's a potential hiccup for us if we do that and look too deeply into stuff that we can't control. So that's something for us to address with the players when we get to that stage. But first and foremost this week we're focusing on the game on Saturday. But I think it's needed when we get. I'm glad we're coming out of this spell, because there's only, I think, so long you can maintain that sort of push. I still think the players could keep going mentally, 100%. But we've seen the last week just a couple of niggles, a couple of injuries, and it is because of the accumulation of games, without a doubt, and the travelling that we've had in that time. So hopefully we can get through this weekend with a positive result, unscathed on an injury front, and then really sort of address the last 10 games in the best way, physically and mentally. But we know how to prepare teams. We've got good staff here that know how to look after players, who needs pushing, who needs a little bit of recovery, and we'll take each individual case on its merits with the players.
I remember speaking to Richie Smallwood, it might be last season, I think, when he was saying about he was a bit frustrated about just getting that consistent run going. He said this team needs to go on a run where you just go ages without losing. He said you just get one of these runs where you can just feel it when you just go into the game. You get the confidence. It's not arrogance. It's just confidence that you're going to keep that run going, and you sort of sense this is that run, isn't it? Potentially. Hopefully.
Potentially. So, no, look, there is a feeling. There is a feeling, without a doubt. I said it last night. I think there's a feeling inside Valley Parade. I think there's a feeling with the supporters. There's definitely one in the squad. But it's good to have that. But it doesn't win you a point. You know, it helps, but it doesn't win you on itself. That you just expect it. You know, I think. The expectancy from us should be, if we keep doing the same things that we do, then that will lead to positive results, not just we're going to win no matter what we do. If we come off what we do, then we'll get the slap that we deserve. So I believe the players know where it comes from, but I think they're confident in knowing how we approach the games, how strong they are, how physically fit they are, how together they are, that's halfway to winning already. So I think that's where the confidence and the feeling comes from, and there's a trust there with themselves, with each other, in the game plan and what we do week to week. I think that's where the feeling comes from. And but you know, like I said, Walsall probably had that feeling a month ago or 6 weeks ago. You know, and so it can evaporate if you don't manage it properly and keep driving forward. And that's what we have to do. We cannot, for 1 second, sort of take a big deep breath and sit back. We have to keep driving. That's the biggest thing for us, and the players are ready to do that. They've been doing it for 11 months already, you know, from day one. So we have to just maintain it for a little while longer, because 11 games is a big chunk of games, so there's a lot of points, so we're nowhere near where we want to be.
And presumably that confidence also comes from the fact that you've had to sort of win the obstacles you've had to overcome, particularly recently when you look at, you know, up Salford on Saturday, coming from a goal down, getting players going off injured in the first half, and now, you know, as say you're winning games. Obviously you haven't had Andy Cook for a few months. No. You've got no Anthony Sarcevic, you've got no Alex Patterson. You know, they're sort of, you know, three of the, you know, the big characters in that squad, big performers, and you're learning to win without them as well.
Yeah, well, because we value all of the players. You know, look, there's players with attributes where everyone's seen this season, but we've won without any individual. I think the only two that have played every game are Richie and Sam Walker. So, but every other individual that we have in that squad, we've won without, and that's what we've tried to create. We don't want to be dependent on any one player.
As a manager, that must be great though. When you, as you say, you know, you're not reliant on A or B, you know, and you know that those players will just come in and
well, I just know from experience as a player that you know, the successful teams that I played for didn't rely on one player, because could get injured, could get suspended, and then what happens? You fall apart. That's not a team, and it's teams that are successful. So for me, the value of the team and the squad always overshadows any individual player, and that was my case as well as a player. I never once wanted to feel any bigger than anybody else. I just wanted to be part of a group, and I think you have that as a footballer from a young age. You know, you want to be in a team sport. You know, because I'm sure there's other sports you can play that are individual, but I think being a part of something, I think it's a basic human sort of feeling, is being a part of something bigger than yourself, and I think that's what footballers have the opportunity to do. So. But it's important that we value all our players like I have done when they haven't been playing, because I knew from previous experience that, you know, injuries happen, red cards happen, all that sort of thing, and you can't fall apart because you have to be consistent for a long time. So, but the players have to believe in it. You know, I know I believe in it, but it's, you know, getting that across and helping the players to understand it. But the players have really felt that sort of strength in depth for a long time now.
And presumably for yourself, it must forge that spirit when you sort of see different players coming in, and as you said earlier, everyone is being involved. It is a genuine team ethic there, isn't it?
It is, and honestly, the players that are coming in January and found it hard to break in, they haven't been sort of on the outside of it. I've seen senior players there talking to individuals and keeping them involved and getting them involved in different things, and because they knew that they were good players, they were good people, and we would need them at some point. So I think the players deserve great credit for opening up the doors of the change room and the training ground to these lads to come into it, and there's been I think a responsibility from those guys to certainly I think the senior players or the experienced ones to make sure that those individuals feel valued as well, and because when they come into the team, like George says, it's his first game, but he feels like he's playing with his mates, and that has only come from off the pitch, so. But we have to maintain it. It's great to talk about the team in a positive sense and the players in a positive sense, but we just got, I don't know, not pat ourselves on the back too much, because there's a lot of work in front of us to do, and we have to make sure we're ready to do it.
And you say very quickly, obviously, Gillingham this weekend, say they're not having the season they probably anticipated, but it's traditionally a tough place to go there, isn't it? And there's going to be a challenge.
I can't think of an easy venue to go where you go, oh yeah, we're just going to turn that team out. It just doesn't happen. So it's, I think over time clubs have good records at some of it, but as an individual or a team, it's a reset every game. So we never let any softness creep into our heads. We stay humble. We keep our egos out of everything that we've got a lot of work to do. And John Coleman, Gillingham, it's not going to be easy. So we have to make sure that we approach the game in the same way we have been doing for months now. And it still won't be a guarantee, but it gives us the best chance.
And again, people talk about league tables, but because of where you are, the opposition will naturally. We talk about they raise their game, Bradford City, but they will naturally raise their game because they're playing a team that's going very well.
Yeah, but I think, like you say, I think that's happened. I spoke about it loads of times that when we go to away venues, I think because of the support we take and the size of the support base, I think it adds an atmosphere to every ground. So we've seen that even when we ain't been as good. It's Bradford City coming to town. So I think now there's that element, but they also know good teams coming as well, and that's the most important thing. So, but everyone is fighting for points at any part of the season, but certainly at this point, because the reality of the finish line is there for everybody. So everyone's got their motivation to try and win, and we just have to make sure ours is higher than everybody else's.